Kick Sauber, last in the Constructors' Championship and possibly have had the worst start to the F1 season of all of the team, maybe bar one. However, as we know, they are moving to the Audi name for 2026, and with everything that's going on this season, with the team's performances, driver transfers, driver rumours, and the Audi name being brought in, I genuinely think Kick Sauber is one of the most interesting teams to have a look into them right now. So let's go and do that. So we'll start off with their performances this season, and like I said, they haven't been the best. They are actually last in the Constructors' Championship, which I was actually quite surprised with, because I thought Joe's Bahrain 11th would push them a little bit more, because technically they're joint last with Williams, Alpine and themselves. However, there has to be an order. And I mean, they've just had a roster of bad luck so far. I mean, they've had Joe crashing out in practice 3 before qualifying in Jeddah, which meant he couldn't actually take place in qualifying, starting at the back of the grid. We then had Joe's car stop working in Japan. Same with Bottas's. He had an engine issue in China when he actually looked like he could have been fighting. Would have been hard to beat Hulkenberg for that P10, but he still would have been there fighting for the P10, which could have been insane for Sauber. But even when they have finished 11th, they haven't got into the top 13 since then. And to put it into context, like I've said, they are losing to that F2 tractor that Alpine have built. Alpine are technically ahead of Kick Sauber, not on points, but technically in the constructors' standings. And then to pour more salt into the wound of what Sauber's season has been so far, I wouldn't even say their pace is that bad. They're definitely faster than the Williams and the Alpine. They could be putting in results like Haas are doing right now. It's just, even without the car not finishing a race, they have difficulties with pit stops. Now, they have this difficulty with their wheel nut, where when they were practicing it, it was all fine, but when they're in a race scenario where the tyre temperatures are a lot higher, the wheel nuts just do not work, and they can't get new tyres on and off. They can't get the old tyres off, and they can't get the new tyres on. It is infuriating to watch a Kick Sauber pit stop. And it generally has got to the point where if they get a 5-second or less pit stop, you'd be like, wow, that's amazing for them. Because we've seen them get into the 30 seconds and the 40 seconds. They are not very good at pit stops. So whenever they've even had a good race where, you know, they're 12th, 11th, 13th, so they're not too far off the points, boom, straight back to last because they've had a 30-40 second pit stop. So it's really disappointing to see Sauber struggling so much this season. However, it isn't all doom and gloom like I've just suggested it is. And that's because of the Audi name coming in. As we know, in 2026, Audi is coming into F1 and they are taking over Sauber. It's a bit of a shame to see Sauber go because Sauber's been in F1 since the 90s. So it's a shame to see a name like that drop out. However, a big name like Audi to join in is also very interesting, and I think with this will come a lot of brand deals, a lot of sponsors, because yes, Audi have never been in F1 before. However, they've had very good results in other racing championships, so Audi know how to build a good car. So I won't be surprised if we see Audi looking good in 2026, especially coming in with the new reg changes. Probably won't be fighting for any championships, but I hope to see them at least getting a few points in their first season. And then not only is it exciting for Sauber with Audi taking over their team in 2026, but we have to mention the drivers. So I actually knew I was going to make this video on Monday. However, I'm just recording it now. As of today, it is Friday the 26th, and Hulkenberg has signed for Kick Sauber in 2025. It is mental. Now, I'm not surprised why. Audi probably wanted a German driver in, and Hulkenberg I think is one of the most underrated drivers. It's sort of like the Lando Norris situation where if anyone says Lando Norris is good, they go, well, he hasn't got any wins. But it's like, just look at his season last season, he did good. And then you go over to Hulkenberg, and if you say Hulkenberg's good, they'll go, well, he's never had a podium before. He's been unlucky sometimes when he should have got a podium. He's so consistent in the midfield, and I generally do think he's one of the best drivers in the midfield. Now, I say all of this, I do think if he's replacing Bottas, it will be a slight drop down because I do think Bottas is better than Hulkenberg. However, if he's replacing Zhou, it is 100% an upgrade. Zhou isn't a bad driver, but Hulkenberg to Zhou is quite a big difference. But then also, on top of Hulkenberg joining Sauber in 2025, with Carlos Sainz moving to Sauber in 2025. As we know, Sainz still hasn't got an F1 seat for next season, and we know he has links with his father having those Audi links, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Carlos Sainz and Hulkenberg Hulkenberg join up together in those Sauber seats just before Audi joins in 2026. And I do think this is what Audi should be going for. I generally thought it was going to be Bottas and Sainz in those seats, but Hulkenberg and Sainz is a dream partnership for the new Audi team coming in. If they come in 2025, having one season under their belt to get to know the team better, but a lot of what the team is will stick until Audi make changes themselves. And just overall, I really do think if Sainz and Hulkenberg were put together, it'd be one of the stronger pairings of drivers in F1. I'd probably put it at 4th or 5th strongest pairing. And then because of all of this Sauber/Audi drama, we need to talk about all of the other teams, because yes, because Sainz doesn't have a seat, and if Sainz goes to Sauber, which I do think will happen, with Hulkenberg now going there, it opens up this silly season even more. Of course, we've already had Hamilton joining Ferrari. We've got an empty seat at Mercedes. Who's going to take that? Now there's an empty seat at Haas. Who's going to take that? Well, here's what I think is going to happen. So first off, if you couldn't guess, with Sauber, I do believe it will be Hulkenberg and Sainz moving in for 2025. Then for Haas, I do think Kevin Magnussen now will keep his seat. I thought Magnussen was going to lose his seat earlier in the season and Behrman would take his seat. However, I do believe it's going to be Magnussen and Behrman for 2025, as Behrman has shown what he can do. And with Haas's Ferrari ties, I do think Ferrari will try to push Behrman into that seat. And I don't see why Haas wouldn't want Behrman in that seat, because he is a good driver. Then I do think Mercedes will be Russell and Albon. I said it could be Sainz and Alonso, however, with Alonso signing a new contract, and now with me thinking Sainz is probably most likely going to go to Sauber, getting ready for Audi, I think it will be Russell and Albon moving from that Williams seat. Again, what does that mean for Williams? I actually think they'll have an all-driver change. So I think Kimi Antonelli will join Williams. It's not going to be the next few races, like a lot of people have said. He needs to get those super license points, and I think Mercedes will be pushing him a little bit too far, considering I don't think they need to be scared that someone's going to take him off their hands yet. So wait till next season, put him in a Williams. And then the shock driver, I think, is going to join because of Albon and Sargent, well, Albon moving to Mercedes and Sargent getting dropped. I do think Schumacher has chances to get that Williams seat, and I think that's what's going to happen. He's got ties to Mercedes, being a reserve driver at the minute, so I genuinely would not be surprised to see Kimi Antonelli and Schumacher racing for Williams. And it's crazy to me to think that Sauber and a few other teams have kickstarted all of this off. So Sauber, just in general, I'm excited to see what they can do in the future. I do think 2024 is a write-off season for them. If they're changing their drivers for 2025, both of them, and getting ready for that Audi move, 2024, nothing much is going to happen. 2025, I think they're going to show a little bit more because they've got to show a bit more. And then 2026, I'm hoping to see them around the level of where Aston Martin is, hopefully. But only time will tell. And what do you guys think? Who do you think is going to be driving for Sauber in 2025 next to Hulkenberg? What do you guys think of Audi moving in for 2026? Where do you think Sainz will be? How well do you think Sauber will do for the rest of the season? And of course, like and subscribe if you like this video. And I will see you later on next week for another F1 related video. Bye bye.